Hi, I'm Joe Gerdes, and this is Coffee in the Capitol. Our guest today is Secretary of the Budget, Greg Thall, a graduate of Skidmore College and Villanova Law School. He's a veteran of the Pennsylvania State Capitol and has a long and distinguished career of public service to the people of Pennsylvania. Mr. Secretary, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Greg, the governor recently presented his $43.7 billion budget proposal to the state. And as we're taping this, the legislature has begun the process of holding their public hearings and will continue to work with the governor and your office over the next several months to hopefully come up with a final budget proposal by the end of the state's fiscal year, June 30th. Is everything on track? Are you optimistic that we're going to get a budget done on time?
Yeah, I am optimistic we're going to get a budget done on time. I am cautiously optimistic that we're going to get one even early. The question of what does early mean varies by who you talk to, but I think
sure.
I think we have a very good opportunity. If you told me that I'd be standing here in the last in the last year of a Democratic administration, proposing defending a budget that only has the only tax change is a cut into the corporate net income tax,
sure.
I would not have believed it. I also, I hope that our spending level of 43.7 is held through the negotiations with the General Assembly, but I get that they have a higher reluctance to spend and would like to keep more in reserves as they're moving forward.
Sure. I guess that's always the crux of the problem, and you being at the center of these negotiations, Greg, how do you advise the governor when you're trying to balance the needs and requests of 13 million Pennsylvanians and all different aspects of life?
It's impossible, and unfortunately, you're never going to get everything the way you want it,
right.
And everyone's never going to be win. So I think the governor wants to have a budget that fits into a couple of different parameters. One, he wants historic investments in education across the board, pre-K through higher ed. He wants to make the tax system more fairer. He sees the CNIT rate as a big hindrance to the investment in the Commonwealth, and he also wants to kind of reset the base. Now's the time to make historic investments in Pennsylvania, so in out years we don't have to increase the spend at the same rate he is proposing this year.
Sure, Greg. And townships and local governments, we look at a whole number of line items in this huge budget that affect us. And, some of the smaller ones from the state recycling fund, which in the past has been kind of rated to help balance previous budgets, all the way up to the other side, transportation, which is such a huge piece of what our townships do and such an important collaboration with the state government. What is your feeling, your opinion on the state of Pennsylvania's economic footing?
No, and those two funds you mentioned are two prime examples. In this year's budget, let's take the largest one first, the motor license fund. The governor is proposing to follow Senator Ward when she was transportation chairwoman, her plan of reducing the reliance of backfilling motor license fund revenues for state police all the way down to $500 million. That's $171 million reduction from current year. And that should help us for at least the first 2 years leverage the additional federal highway money
right.
that is coming in for our state match. And the recycling fund, that's also a great example. It has been rated to balance budgets. During the pandemic, it was also rated to provide cold storage to all sorts of municipalities to help feed the needy and the hungry throughout the beginning of the pandemic. But it also has a huge grant line that is hugely impactful for the townships. That is why in our budget we are proposing a $10 million straight general fund transfer into the recycling fund in order to make sure that we are able to continue to meet those township obligations at at the level which has become accustomed.
That's outstanding. Greg, the governor recently named you as chair of the state's new Broadband Authority. Can you share with me a little bit about your thoughts on how we not only access federal dollars that are out there for broadband expansion, but kind of your thoughts on how we move to make sure that all Pennsylvanians have access to high-speed broadband internet?
Yeah, you're exactly right, Joe. The pandemic laid bare some of the inequities that are available across the entire Commonwealth with access to high-speed internet. I think there are two separate but both equally important roles that the authority has to play. The first is the easiest, is to make sure that Pennsylvania has the ability to access all of the money that is made available by the federal government.
Sure.
To do that, we need to make sure we have a highly qualified map, as well as there is a lot, rightfully so, debate over what is the best solution to delivering broadband to make sure it gets the end user in the most cost-effective and also the highest value use to that end user, being able to communicate efficiently and effectively no matter where they are in the Commonwealth. But we also have the time to make sure that we are able to figure out what the best solution is to each part of the Commonwealth, recognizing that it might not be a one-size-fits all.
Greg, we look forward to, our members at PSATS look forward to working with you and all the members of the authority to make sure we can help in any way we can to make that happen. And finally, Greg, I can't let you go. As a Georgetown Hoya, I have to ask my Villanova counterpart, will Georgetown win the Big East tournament again this year?
The longs are not in your favor, my friend. It is not looking good.
I think that's the easiest question I can ask, because at taping, the Hoyas are 0-15 or 16 in the Big East. So you may have us this year, but Mr. Secretary,
that's why they play the tournament. Right?
That's why they play the tournament.
Get in. Right?
That's why they play the tournament. Well, Mr. Secretary, I know this is your busy time of year. I want to thank you again for taking the time to join us, and very much appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you, and thank you to your members for all you do for the Commonwealth.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Remember, if you like what you're seeing, subscribe to PSAT's YouTube channel and follow our social media pages for more Township Video News content. Next Tuesday, look for Dave Talk, and as always, thanks for watching.